Welcome to the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. Today we're at my sister's house and going to work on replacing the sidewalk and pouring a small pad. So basically this video is broken up into 2 days. So the first day we want to take out the old sidewalk that was there and get the form set up. So go ahead and bring the dump trailer with a little bit of stone and the small tractor. Makes quick work of getting a lot of this out. So instead of putting the full pieces in the dump trailer, we go ahead and break it in smaller pieces that will fit in the bucket. It'll make getting them kind of in and then maneuvering them later a lot easier. So go ahead and just use a sledgehammer to get those broken into smaller pieces. Here you can see, so typically we use 11s to put under the concrete. We didn't have any, so we went ahead and loaded up some 53s. We went ahead and put that at the front of the dump trailer just because we need to get the tractor here as well. And hindsight, we probably should have scooted some of that over more before putting the concrete on, because we ended up having to do some moving later. But hindsight's 50-50, and we were able to make it work either way. So we had about 4 sections we ended up having to take out. There's the one right by the original city sidewalk that had been poured pretty recent, and it was still good, so we left it alone. But there were tree roots growing and popping up the other sections, so we wanted to get rid of those, and then better match it up to a set of concrete stairs that are there. So that was kind of what our goal was, and we wanted to mimic as close as possible the original sidewalk. Notice on the 62 we also have the new stump grinder. So that is one thing we end up trying to take care of as much as possible while we're here, and I'll show that in just a little bit. So I have this last piece that we're going to pop up. So get it popped up, and then just take the sledgehammer and start hitting it to break it across. So to speed up the process here, basically just break it into some smaller pieces like we did the other ones, and here you can see that original, or that piece of sidewalk that we left there kind of at the bottom of the screen. And then you can see we're going up toward the steps, and we take out the piece right in front of it. And essentially there was kind of a little step there. The concrete that we poured, we tried to match that up a little bit better. So here it is with all the concrete gone, but I haven't gotten the forms up yet. So she had a few roots in the yard from a previous tree, so we go ahead and get those taken care of. Here, since she's in a pretty small neighborhood and the way that throws chips, Austin and I hold up just a tarp to catch kind of the flying pieces so that we don't scatter them across the road or into the neighbor's yard. So just hold that up to catch as much as possible. Again, eventually I want to get a mud flap or something to put on there so that it'll just hit and fall. Just something we hadn't gotten accomplished before we got this project going. So these roots over here are more just nuisance roots when mowing, so trying to get rid of those. By using this, we leave little divots in the yard, so I'll have to come back through with some topsoil and kind of get that all fixed up, and we'll have a little bit to do around the finished sidewalk as well. So then here is actually getting one of the main roots that was really causing the upheaval. So there's a big, I don't know, probably 6-inch around root that was growing under the sidewalk here. That was one of the main issues. So trying to get as close as possible because it is right there by that existing sidewalk. Trying to get it chewed up. And then in the process of trying to clean this up and get down to where our forms need to be, we did end up finding several more roots and ended up using the axe quite a bit to cut out roots. And then any of the really big pieces, we did use the stump grinder. So here, we ran out of down with the 3-point hitch. Basically what he was able to do was use the front end loader to pick up the front of the tractor, which then of course let the back go down a little bit more. So by doing that, he was able to kind of get a little bit more. We wanted to try to remove as much of this as possible so that the tree, the root wouldn't continue to grow and then we'd have a similar issue. So we want to get all or as much of this out as possible. This is one of those projects where it seems like every time we went to go clean out an area, we found another root. So between this being a really big old tree and then having had another one in the front yard, there's lots of roots in this area and we wanted to get them all taken care of. So this is the initial reason we just about bought the stump grinder was this project. I had this one in mind, so we knew that this was something we wanted to eventually work on, so it ended up working out really well. And here you didn't have the throttle on the tractor up very much, mainly not to throw chips very far, and also, just trying to eat through stuff pretty slow. And here you can see that there's a root there that is no longer connected, so it's one that we'll probably just have to chop out. So then after we got all the roots out and got all the loose dirt out, go ahead and start working on our forms. So this is a scrap piece of wood that we had from the sawmill. It's a 3/4 inch thick piece, so we're able to bend it pretty easily, and we just cut it 3.5 inches tall. Normally you do about a 4-inch piece, but for this sidewalk we figured it didn't need to be that full height, so we just work on getting it staked and then putting screws in it so that it'll hold it at the level. So we go ahead and get the laser level set up so that we can check the height from one step to the other to make sure I have a little bit of fall from the top of the hill to the bottom, so that the water will kind of run off in a natural downhill instead of want to pool or have it slope to where it's not going to want to go uphill. So then we get the other form set up, kind of overlap it on both of the step up at the top and then the existing piece at the bottom, and then just check our measurement between and make sure we have 4 foot consistent at our 2 bends, so that we have that kind of evened up. So I took a fair amount of time just to make sure we got this right, kind of going back and just confirming everything, kind of getting a preliminary thing set up, and then going back through and putting more stakes in, just so that whenever we start to screed and move stuff, it doesn't move. So right there you can see we go ahead and make it so that the top of the concrete will be level with that first step, which that wasn't the case before. And now we take some of the 53s that we had brought, just put them in the tractor bucket and start dumping them in there and start to get everything leveled up as much as possible, and kind of getting it so that at the edge of the board we don't have where concrete will flow out. And we do bring a little bit of dirt back over that we took out to kind of put around the outside, just to kind of create a barrier. So at the beginning I mentioned that we also poured a small pad. So here we poured a approximately 6x4 pad that would essentially be a spot that we can build a small shelter to store firewood bags. So I have the stand here at my sister's house that I sell bags out of. Right now I'm storing any additional ones in her garage, and it's taking up kind of room next to the cars. So while we're doing this concrete work, go ahead and get this built, and we'll just build a small little shed here that can store that. So go ahead and put a little bit of the landscape paper down, just so that we're not sitting right on the grass. We do bring in some additional 53s over, get them put down, just kind of help level things up, get a base down, and then pour the concrete. Work on getting it fairly square, just so that whenever we go to build stud walls on this and then put the roof on, everything's kind of straight, and we don't have any kind of odd dimensions that we have to deal with. So we get it squared up and then drive some stakes in, just so that whenever we go to put concrete down, it doesn't want to move. And we go ahead and just do it the width of her chimney and kind of put it in front of that place there. Her fireplace isn't used any longer for a traditional fireplace. We put it in a just an electric insert, so we don't have to worry about that. So on to day 2, we go get 50 bags of Quikrete and just brought our little mixer over and started mixing up bags. So we did put some fiberglass rebar down and tied those together. We didn't end up putting any into the existing or the step. In hindsight, maybe should have, just to kind of help so that it wouldn't pop on either of those sides, but went ahead and just laid it in, and that way all of this piece that we pour is kind of a little bit more rigid and together. So I start to figure out a method for kind of getting the concrete. So basically can do about a bag at a time, figure out the water level, mix it, dump it into a wheelbarrow, and then dump it into the sidewalk. Seems to be about the easiest way to do it. And once we kind of had a rhythm down as far as getting bags in, getting water in, it went fairly quick, and this weekend was a particularly nice one. You can see I'm actually wearing a flannel. So it was about 50 degrees in the morning, and even during the day about 70. So it wasn't terrible. And it was a really nice weekend for being the beginning to middle of September. So get a little bit of water in, and then go ahead and put in a bag of Quikrete and let it mix up. Kind of see what the consistency is, and if I need to add any additional water, I can do that. This is actually just a Harbor Freight mixer that we got. We got it for a couple of small projects, and we've ended up using it a lot for probably different things you've seen on here, for pouring the piers that are at the 100 acres, for the grill pavilions here at the homestead, and then also the little bit that we had to pour additional onto the saw shack. So we've mixed probably hundreds of bags in this, and it still works really well, and amazingly has a lot of the paint even on the inside. So it's one of those things that has served us really well and is actually a pretty good product. So basically just keep pouring, and after we get so far we screed a little bit, just kind of keep pulling everything forward. The only disadvantage to kind of doing it this way is the first part was starting to set up about the time we got to the end. So able to work on the first part and work kind of a quarter to the halfway through as far as finishing, and then had to kind of let the second half sit a little bit longer before could really start finishing that off, just because it hadn't firmed up enough. Here, kind of before getting any of the true finish done, having just screeded, kind of going through and just working in any of the spots that may have issues and working some of that cream up. Here, just worked into the corner with the screed as much as possible, so it'll go through and smooth that out. They're there by the steps, the two ridges you see. Then kind of just to give you an idea of kind of where we poured the additional pad, or what we're going to pour. So kind of over the right side of the house here. We did get some 53s in there, just kind of got it leveled up and gave it a little bit of a base so that the concrete wasn't sitting right on that landscape paper. There you can kind of see where it is in reference to also the stand. So I had actually left at this point and went to go get some more bags via the calculator that we used on the Quikrete site, so that we needed about 14 bags. We had 11 left, and typically we end up needing more bags than it says. So I actually went to go get some more bags, and so they started pouring what we had left, and in that they ended up not needing any additional. But here over at the sidewalk, it's sturdied up enough that able to put the dividers in it. So back here's the pad for firewood. So thought we were going to be like 3 to 4 bags short, so I went and gotten some bags, and they started pouring while I was gone to get bags, and ended up only needed like half a bag. So I don't have any time lapse of getting this poured, but basically the same as the front, just a 4x6 spot, and then we'll build kind of stud walls up and then leave the front open. That'll be a spot where we can store firewood to restock the stand right there. So we'll end up putting in a door and everything right here that will swing, but it'll make it a lot easier and a lot more convenient for storing additional firewood bags for the stand, and be able to keep some here and at the homestead. So while they needed half a bag from what I got, put in that half a bag and then screeded it, and then let it sit for just a little bit, and then went back through and finished it. Just did a smooth finish on it, so we were able to sweep it out. Okay, so we got the front all done. Put a broom finish on it. and then put the creases. Went ahead and roped it all off just so that couldn't accidentally walk on it like the male person or something. So let that sit for a week, and then we should be able to take the forms off next weekend. Now we just temp the fence back up there, and then just get a smooth finish on this. We'll just build over it, and then just leaving it smooth, so if we need to sweep it out, we don't have any anything in it. So just gonna leave that like that, and then we'll put a gate in here, swings out, so we can get in and out. Thank you for watching. Be on the lookout for when we build the little shelter for the firewood. Hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.